Welcome back, Fragrance Fiend here today with a tiny bit of a different video. I've been gifted a sample called Spiritcask by Jorum Studio by a friend, but I have no idea what this fragrance is about. I've been told that it is a little bit boozy. I know nothing about the brand, the bottle, apparently it's from Scotland, and this is a complete first impression, so let's jump right into it. I don't even know the notes. I honestly have not looked this up, so let's give it a spray, and I'll do my research after this. Okay, so I'm detecting this almost Play-Doh-like tonality, which I quite like. Okay, quite woody and musky. I don't know what I'm detecting in there. It's actually driving me insane. I need to look this up. I could be completely off the mark. Honestly, I don't know what this is. It's so bizarre because normally when I smell a fragrance, I can detect certain things in it, but I'm really struggling for this one. And I know when I look at the notes, it's going to be so obvious. So let's have a look. I feel like I like it, but it's not something I'd personally wear. What I can say is, it's like nothing I've smelled before. It's so unique, which is what I always appreciate about in fragrance. Just the experimental side is what continues to lighten my passion and discover new scents like this. Okay, so a pretty simple bottle. I'm going to go straight to the website and skip over Fragrantica. It's a pretty decent price tag. I think, oh wait, hold on. That's 30 ml for $152. I think that is American currency as well. Ooh, it's an extrait. So the description is as follows. Held in the customs house, the wistful spirit maker plunges their head into the last empty barrel where copper-fired sweet nothings whisper and swirl. New make, Ylang-Ylang, Pear, Chamomile, Malt. Yes, it's Malt, of course. That's what I'm getting. And Cognac, which is really bizarre because I have had a few Cognac fragrances before, but this isn't quite like them. Jasmine and Rum Absolute. Oh, hold on, that's the impression. So the fade, instead of top, heart, and base, in the fade you've got leather, cocoa, maple, cedarwood, whiskey, lactone, caramel, labdanum, Guaiacwood, coffee, bourbon, vanilla, absolute, and oakwood extract. Whoa. I was kind of confused when I read the first part of the note breakdown because I was like, surely I would have picked up on those florals, but obviously that massive fade has somewhat disrupted the opening to a degree, if that's what they mean. The woodiness is definitely taking over quite a bit. It's very oaky. Normally when I smell oak wood fragrances, they're not as oaky as this. But yeah, now the boozy elements are definitely coming out quite a bit more now. I kind of understand where I got that Play-Doh texture from because sometimes I often find that synthetic florals often smell like Play-Doh. I can say the same about Dancing on the Moon by Mason Margiela, part of their fantasy collection. It's just not like Play-Doh to me. So wow, what a large note breakdown. I am somewhat impressed that they managed to chuck all those notes in there and still make it fairly likable. Often when a brand gets a little too ambitious and creates something like this, it just becomes a bit of a cluster. I mean, it's really teetering on the edge of being a cluster and something a little more defined. Now that a bit of time has passed, I almost pick up this gunpowder-like texture to it. It almost smells like a very dark version of Himalaya by Creed. It has a soapy muskiness to it, but it's just worlds darker in contrast. I think I do recall hearing that Himalaya did have a gunpowder note in it, or at least at one point. So far, the fragrance isn't going anywhere. It's been about 15 minutes and it hasn't even begun to die down at all. I think it's going to be a really resilient fragrance, but overall I'm actually very impressed with this. Is it a safe blind buy? Definitely not, unless somebody's really open-minded and wants something very experimental that is nothing quite like anything else out there. Does it smell exactly like all the notes listed? Definitely not. I mean, as I mentioned, I struggled to pick up those flowers in the opening. Instead I got that Play-Doh smell, which I can often say comes from synthetic replications of flowers, but I don't really know what they're using for this. Now as the fragrance is beginning to progress a little more, it is getting more woodier with a blend of Oakwood and Cognac, and overall it went from almost like a bit of a powdery floral reminiscent of Play-Doh to a very leathery transition. Now I'm getting the boozy woods. So it's been a bit of a fun experiment actually. I've done first impressions before where I know a lot about the fragrances and the notes in them, but this is probably the blindest first impression I've done. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's kind of hard to ask for recommendations with blind reviews as I've smelt so much out there, but let me know what you'd like me to review next time. I'll see you then.